What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more Bad Religion, and we're back with another song from Suffer 1988. And we're going to listen to the third track in the playlist, How Much Is Enough? Another one written by Brett Gurewitz. And indeed, I've talked about it before, the dual songwriting chops of Brett Gurewitz and Greg Graffin, the two lead songwriters and the, I think, core of the group. And that's to take nothing away from Bentley on bass, or Hetson and the other people who've been involved in the guitars over time. But again, I think the real essence of Bad Religion is their songwriting, and the two lead songwriters, Graffin and Gurewitz, are what make the band one of the most interesting punk bands I've ever heard, and one of my very favorites. And again, there was there was like a decade or so period where Brett was no longer in the band. He eventually came back to the band, and even though my understanding is these days he's part of the studio albums, but he doesn't tour with them because, again, I think it's like a family thing, and he's also running the Epitaph label, and so when they play in LA, I think he does play with them, and as I said, he's involved in the studio albums, but I don't think he tours with the rest of the band. In any case, I mean, if they make it a few more years, they are going to hit their 50th anniversary as a group, which for a punk band is crazy. I mean, for any band it's crazy, but for a punk band who are notoriously sort of volatile, and a lot of them don't stay together for long, it is, I think, an impressive milestone that they have waiting for them if they can make it a few more years. In any case, this next song, as I said, written by Brett Gurewitz, is How Much Is Enough? And it speaks to humanity's disposition toward, penchant for, and proclivity for indulgence, overindulgence, acquisition, the avarice to want to go get more and more. And that happens, of course, on individual levels, but also on larger, like, societal levels. And it's what leads to, again, greed, overindulgence, the harm and suffering that can happen to oneself. I mean, there's literally a line which is a simile, like a dog that feeds until it suffers. Like, if you just keep putting food out, some dogs will just keep eating and eating and eating, and then eventually, they can get stomach aches or actually like health problems because they're eating too much. But it's there, so they just want more and more. And the song speaks to the way in which an individual can sort of get warped to the point where, like, they want more, not because it's necessarily beneficial or something that can be used, but they want more because it's more. And again, there seems to be something in the human psyche, certainly the modern human psyche, that is about acquisition and control and possession, even if there's no tangible benefit and maybe even a detriment to that. And again, when you go to the societal level, and a line like avarice has led us across the ocean, we have this stuff, but there might be more stuff we can get over there, and there's people in the way. Well, let's get them out of the way, or let's use violence against them so we can get what they have. And of course, that is a major aspect of what is so terrible about human history. And again, you can say that in the animal kingdom more broadly, there is this sense of satiation, of hunger, of desire, and so on. And while that might be part of, mammalian or other biological impulses based on, evolutionary development, it is, of course, taken to another level with the sentient brains of humans. And there's a line, it's something like, what is it? Rapacity, capacity for more, our rapacious desire to consume, and our capacity for taking that to a sort of organized level is, again, a major factor in a lot of brutal aspects of human history and a lot of destructive aspects about human nature right up into the present. So let's give it a listen. This is How Much Is Enough by Bad Religion, written by Brett Gurewitz. I was going to say Greg Graffin, but no. Brett Gurewitz from their 1988 album, Suffer.
Production, consumption, the final holograms. Avarice that's led us across the ocean. Toward a land that's better, much more bountiful and wide. So well, man, got finally come to realize this circuit has become his demise. How much is enough? kill yourself. That quantity is no true day. As we blow ourselves away. Tell me, is there anything so sure about seeing tenacity, capacity for more? I could all get these until he suffers. Infirmity of man is born by a selfish cure. Oh, and our body got to realize this serpent has become his demise. How much is enough to kill yourself? That quantity is over today. As we blow ourselves away.
Production and consumption define our shallow lives. And I love that line, surfeit has become our demise. You know, surfeit, the opposite of a dearth. A surfeit is to have like so many that you actually have too many. So the idea of surfeit having become our demise. It's just really good songwriting. And again, you know, they were in their 20s at this point, which, okay, like, you know, in people's 20s, you know, you're often going to college and grad school and so on, and they are very intellectually minded punks, so it's not surprising. And yet again, I love a lot of other punk bands. I'm not sure there's any other punk band that has lyrics as philosophical and well crafted and perceptive, and yet still have this, you know, punk ethos and edge to them. So yes, again, their lyrics are a major part of why they will always be one of my favorite punk bands. But yes, I think it's just a really well written song. It's fast, it's rocking. I think Greg's voice once again sounds great. He like goes up a level or two across the course of the tune. And again, it's in that 80s punk style of it says what it needs to say, it's quick, it's fast, and it's over before the 2-minute mark. So it's brilliant. Another fantastic tune from them. I will continue to go through more of their tracks. I think it had been a little while since the last Bad Religion reaction. As I mentioned, I've not yet reacted to Suffer, so maybe that will be the next one. Maybe I'll try to do that sooner rather than later. So from Luca and I, let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.